Hey guys, this is Abhishek, and with this video I am starting a series of Python data visualization. So as you are aware, or you must have seen, that visualization creates a lot of impact. So in the previous videos when I was explaining you about pandas data analysis using the pandas library, I have shown you how you can use the group by, pivot table and the other functions which are helpful in creating metrics and doing the analysis of data. But until unless you visualize it, it really can't give you that impact, because human eyes are really used to of looking at the visuals and then taking an impact compared to looking at metrics or the numbers. So with this video, as I mentioned, I'm starting it and I am using the Matplotlib library, which is a basic library, and the path is this: https://matplotlib.org, and within that the sub library is the pyplot API we will be using to basically plot the basic plots in the initial videos, and then in the future videos we will look at how we can import the data like a normal scenario. You need to get the data from an CSV file or from the database or anywhere else, and then you need to visualize and then slowly move on to the complex visualizations. Alright, so first of all I'm using, as you can see, Jupyter notebook, which is a part of Anaconda distribution. And if you are also using this, then you will be using the latest edition of Python along with pretty much all the libraries inclusive of Matplotlib or pandas or NumPy and everything. But for some reason, if you don't have this, and you can install the library by using the pip command by following this exclamation pip install and matplotlib. Since it is already installed, so there is no need to do the installation for me. So what I'll do is I'll just import this library, import matplotlib. After pressing the mat, I've just pressed the tab and I got these options that I have two libraries, math and matplotlib. So I will select the matplotlib and press enter. .pyplot. As you can see, I just wrote the py and pressed tab. It is giving me that it has three libraries: pyplot, pyparsing and pylab. So what we need is pyplot. So I'll just enter this. So import matplotlib.pyplot as plt. So plt is a common kind of an acronym that used so that we don't have to write this entire name whenever we need to fetch any function like for example the plot. That's the one we will be using a lot in our videos to explain the different types of plots. So we will just say, hey, plot dot show, for example, or within the plt.plot, and then providing the parameters. So that's about one thing. So with this library, that's the basic thing right now you need to do to start with it, and press shift enter, and when we press the shift enter, it creates the new line for us. Now let's create the basic plot. So what we can do is we can simply write plt.plot and provide just one list to it. So maybe 1, 2, 3 and 4. That's it, simply that piece, so that we will get to know what it is basically doing when it is getting these parameters. And if I press shift enter, it doesn't give you the output. Well, because after this you need to write one more function, which is plt.show. If I enter this, now the line is over here, and as you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4 is here on the y-axis. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So based on, so it has done some auto adjustment for writing these tick numbers y-axis, but it has automatically identified the x series or the x-axis values. How? Well, based on the series that it is seeing and its index value. So if you have seen my previous videos, whenever we are creating a series, by default it generates the index. So for this, for value 1 the index will be 0, for value 2 index will be 1. For value 3, index will be 2. And for value 4, index will be 3. So 0, 1, 2, 3. And same is the values over here, 0, 1, 2, 3. So that's a very basic and the default behavior whenever you are passing just the one argument. So let's say, for example, I'll just close this. So let's say, for example, you are passing one series and you are getting this visualization, the line chart, and you are not sure how the hell this Matplotlib is picking up these numbers. So always, keep in mind that these are the index numbers. Okay. All right. The next thing I want to show you is whenever we are writing or whenever we are creating a plot by using the plt.plot, we have to write plt.show again and again. But if you want to avoid that, there is a one argument that you can pass, which is %matplotlib inline. So what it's basically saying that, hey, don't use plt.show again and again, because I have already passed this magic command, the %matplotlib inline, and it dictates that all the charts, all the plots that you are creating will be shown inline irrespective of this plt.show command. So what I'll do is I will just execute this again by pressing shift enter. I will remove this, and now I will press shift enter again, and now as you can see, my line is displayed, and even I don't have the plt.show. So that's the more again useful, and we use it regularly in our examples or whenever we are doing data analysis, because writing additional command, every coder hates that. So we want to always optimize it, and this helps us optimizing the code. Okay, so that's the one thing. Now let's see. I'll just copy this and paste it over here, and I will just pass one more list to it. So 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe in this case, and press the shift enter to see what will happen. Alright, so now if you compare, if I just little bit go down so that you can easily see. Now if you compare, the y-axis values are now 5, 6, 7 and 8, and x-axis value is actually 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's starting with 1. Earlier it was 0 because we did not provide any values over there. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. So as you can understand from this is the x parameter, x-axis value, and this is the y-axis value. Okay, so this is about the very basics. But if you press within this pyplot function, if you press shift and 2 times tab, you will get this information about its various parameters. So for example, plot x and y using default line style and color, but it has other parameters. So if you are using that third argument bo within the single quotes, it will plot the x and y using blue circle markers. If you are just saying plot y using x as an index, like I mentioned earlier, if you are not having x value, it will use the x index. Similarly, if you have a plot comma y, the y value and the r plus, so it's basically the red pluses. So that's how you can modify it, but it has a lot of different properties. If you will go down and so for example, if you want to show the line style, so it's basically the style parameter for what type of style you really need. Similarly, character color, so if you want to have a line color, you just specify BGR to the color parameter. Similarly, if I go down, I will see a lot of different other properties like line width, for example, label, and all of those things. So let's experiment with a couple of few. Maybe for example, you want line width, and we want to specify line width, let's say 6, and press shift enter. Now you can see the width of the line has been impacted. So maybe if you have multiple lines and you want to show an impact with the help of the width of the line, you can change their parameter. Okay. Similarly, I have shown you the color properties, and let's make it R, and now it is R, so you can change the color pretty much quickly. So these are like a few of the properties that you can get. Another, I'll just very quickly show you the line style property, because that's like a most useful one, because sometimes we have multiple lines and one of the line is the solid line like this, and couple of other lines are dashed line with different types of dashing. Some has lot of space between consecutive dashes, and some are having a different types, less or more. So the parameter name is ls, and it is, I believe, dashed if I'm not wrong. Yeah. So if you see, with this dashed, it has changed to a dashed one. If you want to know more, again press Shift Tab within this function, and if you go down, you will see more like this. So dashed line style, dash dot, solid, dotted. When you specify dotted, this is how you will get. I have just specified the dashed, so I've got this one, as you can see it over here. So you have other ones like triangle down, up. So whatever is feasible to you and useful to you, you can change it and make an impactful line chart. So that's about it, the very basics of the line chart or the basic charts by just providing simple parameters. And I will meet you in the next video with bar chart, probably. Yeah. Hi there. In this video, I will talk about how you can create the bar chart. If you have seen my previous video, if I go up and show you, I have shown you the first video of Matplotlib and introduce you to the basic plots using the plt.plot and all. So taking the second step and creating a bar chart, which is again a basic chart, gets created for pretty much every different kind of analysis that you are producing, to see sometimes the comparison among the different categories, or there is a stack bar chart to see the percentage difference between two categories, and sometimes group chart. So first of all, let's see how you can create a basic bar chart. So before I do that, we will import the library, which is matplotlib.pyplot splt, and I will use the %matplotlib inline. So as I suggested in my first video, Matplotlib inline is helpful in cases where you don't want to use plt.show function again and again whenever you are creating a new plot, and this will help us creating the plot inline to our command. Okay, so I'm executing this. Now let's create two different lists. So maybe X to represent the x-axis, maybe 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, okay, 5 values, and the y is equals to maybe 10, 15, 20, 25, and 19 maybe. Press enter. Now you can create the bar chart with a very straightforward command, which is, I'll just delete this. Okay, so I just press DD, which is a shortcut to remove that extra indentation that was created. So to create a bar chart, plt.bar x, y, that's it, and you have the bar chart. Now as you can see, 2, 3, and it is seeing the values in the continuation and basically trying to see that whether for value 4 there is a value or not. So either one thing that you can do is, maybe for this basic example, let's not go into the complexity and create a value which is 4. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 10, 15, 25, 19. Add one more value, maybe 17. and create it. Alright, so here we have our very simple bar chart. Okay, now the next thing is in a bar chart you always want to create some sort of label, so which is more or less like a label for this particular chart. So what we have is basically plt.title, our first bar chart, and that's how it will create the bar chart. Similarly, if you want to give the labels to the X and Y, you will use the X label, and this is X labels text, simply because we are not showing. Similarly, and you have Y label. So since we don't have a business context, we are using the arbitrary text values. Y labels text. So here you have X label, Y label. Similarly, if you see, you have a lot of different properties. Like if I start with the X, you have X label, X limit, X scale, xticks. So we'll see as and when the need will arise to create the labels. But this is how for any chart, like previously we created the line chart, and you want the labels over here and here, you can easily create those labels, and with the help of the title you can create the title as well. Now let's say you have the requirement where you need to create the multiple bar chart related to this. So one thing is to create the dummy values, so maybe x2, and create the value maybe a similar 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and y2 is different values, maybe 15, 25, 19, 16, and 18. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6. Alright, let's enter, and plt.bar x2, y2, and let's enter. So this is how you will get your bar chart, but as you can see, there is a problem, and the problem is that in some cases the blue is not getting a proper value. So for 5 the value is 25 for the y, and that's why it is coming over here. But here in case of y2, 1, so the 5 value is around 16, as you can see. So that's why you are able to see. So whenever the first y value is more than the second y value, you are able to see the chart. But if it is less than that, then you are not able. So here in this case it is 15. It has completely overlapped the first value, which is 10. Okay, so in my view there are two different ways by which you can overcome this issue. So the first thing is using the alpha value. So alpha is basically the transparency. So completely the alpha is 1, so it's anywhere between 0 to 1, and if I specify alpha value as 0.5 and similar the alpha value as 0.5 and press enter, you will see the output a little bit in a better context, right? And maybe what we can do is to get a proper representation, we can even get the legends. So our legend is not applied because labeled object is not found, as it is saying. So let's give it a label. First chart and label second chart. Let's see this. Okay, this gives some error. Let's quickly figure it out what it is. Unknown property label. So I made a mistake while writing it. label. Okay, so now we got it. So the first bar chart, the second bar chart, and wherever the gray area over here or the darker area on the second bar chart indicates that it is the first bar chart. So that's one of the way by which you can overcome this issue. Another way you can overcome with this issue is using the width property. So let's say width and width, width, yeah, the spelling is, and right now the width is same. By default the width value is 0.8 as per the documentation. So I'll try and experiment it with. I'll make the first width value as 0.9 and the second width value as 0.7, and let's see what happens. Okay, now we get a better presentation. So alpha is removed and clearly we are able to see that first chart is over here and second chart is over here. They are getting overlapped, but as you can see with the help of it, it's clearly representing that when the first chart is getting finished and whenever the second chart is surpassing, where it is surpassing. So I think this is a more cleaner way to represent similar types of problem if you are facing it, and get your presentation in a much better way. So the next piece or the next set of information I want to give you is about how you can resize your chart, because right now as you can see there are a lot of values and it's a bit squeezed up here in this space of bar chart, the boundaries. So what you can do is you have something called plt.figure, and within that you can give the fixed size, and this is a tuple. So we specify, let's say 10,5 in this case, and press shift enter, and as you can see this is a bit good. Maybe we can do 15, let's say, much better. Okay, so that's about how you can change the figure size, how you can use the alpha or the width property, depends on what makes sense in your case, and get the output. Okay, so that's about your first bar chart. I think we made a pretty good success with how we can make it impactful, and I will meet you in a new video with some new type of bar chart. Hi guys, in this video I will talk about the histograms. So in my previous video I have talked about how you can create a bar chart like this within the Python Matplotlib library, and the basic difference that we have between the a bar chart and the histogram is basically histogram is useful for looking at the distribution of data. So what happens is on the x-axis you have the x-axis value. It can be, let's say, your age, your height or anything, and then these bars basically or always represent the count. So this way we identify whether in a particular nation there are people who are like of less height, or there are people who are more height, or if it is like this, then we say okay, that's okay, that there is a proper distribution. There are good number of people on higher side, lower side, as well as on the middle side, so it's kind of a normal distribution that it follows. So that's basically the differences between a bar chart, usage of bar chart, and between the uses of bar chart and histogram. So I will go to my code over here and import the library, import matplotlib as .pyplot as plt and percentage matplotlib inline, so that I am getting my charts inline to my code. Otherwise, if I don't write this line, as I mentioned in my previous videos, I will have to write plt.show to view my charts. But with the help of this magic command, I don't have to write that particular line of command. So shift enter to execute that. Let's create maybe value 1. It can be anything. I mean, let's say it is the height, and generally NP, the height is between, anywhere between, I would say on an average it is between 150 centimeter to 200, let's say, for example. So what we can do is we can actually get the numpy also to basically get the ranges. Import n numpy as np. So first what we can do is we can use np dot arrange. I think I executed this. Ideally it should come if I'm np dot arrange, yeah. And then the first of all the start value 150, the end value let's say 200, and the step maybe let's say with every 2 values. And so this is the data that has been created for us, and let's see, it should be fairly straightforward but while plotting it, but that's basically represents, let's say, the height of probably man, let's say, for example. So what we can do is we can not shade hist and height. Alright, here we have the height starting from 150 going up to 200, showing the distribution which is relatively flat. What we can do to make it more meaningful, since it is right now having no width or no space between the bar, we can use the r width parameter, which is a row width parameter, and say let's 0.9, and here we have a proper row width. Now after that we can also have the distribution, let's say between 150 to 170 there is one, and 170 to maybe 190, or then rest of them 200. So maybe like 3 bins. If you want, we can just specify the bins over here. So let's say 3. Now we have 3 bins. If I want 4, I can get 4. And that's usually, people really experiment with the bins about how many bins that they have. Generally, when you are creating the bar chart, the histogram first time, you are not aware how many bins you really need. So people usually experiment with this. Also, you have the options where you can have the bin specified, let's say 150, and then next I want 165, then next I want maybe 175, and maybe 190, and then finally 200. And now here I can specify the bin and press shift enter. So now as you can see, I have 2 bins which is kind of clubbed over here, and I think 2 bins clubbed over here. So but it has basically segregated the data into multiple bins for me. As I can see, 165 is coming over here, then 170, and then here 185, and then finally 190, and then finally it is going to 200. Now after creating these bins, you have some other properties also which are very useful, like let's say if you have multiple histogram over here. So if I go ahead and show you, so we have this height, let's say we give it height underscore m to say male height, and height underscore f, and let's use the random this time, dot rand number, and let's give it like maybe 20 random numbers. So it can be any random number, so let's just give it a name value because that will not representation of right height, but let's keep it as height just to. So executed this plt.hist, and we have height, and now within the brackets we can specify these 2 values, and let's have the bins automatically being identified. So now it's little difficult for you to see, so what I can do is I can simply follow this which I was following. I was thinking that I will show you both the effects random number and all. So maybe let's say in case of female, generally, you know, here in India, I would say the height is a bit less, so I will just go and say maybe 140 to 180 and give a different names to these. Underscore m underscore f, execute that. Height, give it a name, height underscore m, height f. Alright, so now we have the two different heights, and for females, as you can see, it's going over here. Right now we are not able to see the legend, so let's go ahead and see plt.legend. Okay, I need to give the label over here, that's why it is not giving the so male, female. Alright, now we have the label male and female over here with the help of the legend and the label argument. But if you will see the real life, like for example I've shown you this one, it shows proper, you know, random distribution. So how you can basically experiment or create a random distribution, it's basically by rand underscore n, random n, the one which I showed you earlier, random dot rand n, random number. So to generate, let's say 1000 random number we want to generate, and then create a histogram, plt.hist, and say rand underscore n. Okay, now you see it's pretty much a similar structure like this. And generally when doing regression, you know, that's like one of the normal assumption that the data should be normally distributed, and a normally distributed data looks like this. What I can do is I can use the r is equals to 0.9 for a better representation. So it shows that similar sort of bar on both sides with the same, you know, count. That's why we are saying that it follows a very close random number distribution. Another property, or rest of the other property, if you want to see, you can press shift tab, and we have his type is equals to bar, and whether it's a stack bar chart, and orientation is another interesting one. So maybe we just showed you orientation is it's basically vertical. So this is a vertical. What you can have is a horizontal also. So horizontal, maybe let me just check. Yeah, small. Okay, so here we have the horizontal one. So sometimes there is a need that you want a horizontal distribution, and you can do this. Use this property. But there are rest other very interesting properties which you can you know, use, like weights, cumulative, all of that one, and down there they have shown you the description as well. Like for orientation I use the horizontal, and by default it is vertical. So this is about how you can create the histogram within the Matplotlib Python library. So that's pretty much all I have, and I'll meet you in the new video, the new topic. Hi there, in this video I will talk about the scatter chart. So scatter chart, as you can see it right over here, it's very useful for visualizing a lot of data points. Let's say if you have, so for example on x-axis, let's say you have discount values, and on x-axis you have discount values, on y-axis you have, let's say, sales values, and probably you want to see that when your sales is high, then whether there is a high discount or not, or if the sales is less, even after that you are giving a high discount or not by maybe your sales rep or channel partner, things like that. So to see those kind of relationships over thousands of or hundreds of thousands of data points, I have seen that scatter plot have been really useful to visualize that data over the two numeric dimensions. So I will show you here in this video how you can create a scatter chart within the Python's Matplotlib library. Alright, so let's go ahead and come to this scatter plot. So first of all, as usual, we will import the matplotlib.pyplot library as plt, and we will use this matplotlib inline magic command so that we don't have to write plt.show again and again, as I explained in my first video. So after this, let's create two values. First is x for the x-axis, maybe 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11 and 13. As you can see, there is a difference of 2 between each value. And the y value, let's say there is 25, 35, 21, 67, 63 and maybe 55. Yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. So let's give it one more value. Though when you are using the real time, you can simply use the column names, and I'll show you that in this with the help of a real-time data once you get some basic understanding. So I have executed this, and now I want plt.scatter, and simply I'm passing x and y, and here I have my data points. So as you can see, on y-axis is going from 20 to 60, as we have 25 to almost 67 and 30. It's going up till here and showing you when they are crossing. So first value is 25, so over here 1, 25, then you have 3, 35, so like over 3, 35. This way you can get an idea how your values are over the two numeric dimensions. Now couple of parameters that definitely you can adjust to make it more meaningful. So I'll just show you a couple of them and then followed by some practical example. So let me show you property which is x comma y, and then you can specify the marker over here. So the property which is marker, and let's say I want x as a marker, so I can get x as a marker, and you have a lot of different the values for the marker. Like by default it is O, but you can use this command to get tilde and matplotlib.markers to get the more number of markers, but down there we should have, I think, some information, but no, I think in some different case I have seen that. So you have x, even you have star if you want. So all these ones, these are helpful in scenarios like you have multiple values over here for multiple dimensions. So for example, right now this is x and y. Let's say we have x1 and y1, and maybe x2 is again 1, let's say 3, 5, 7, 9, 11 and 13, and y2 is equals to your any random values like 30, 24, 65, 45, 39, 55, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I think there are 7 values, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So let's give one more value as 21, and then down there we can specify here, and then here let's give it x1, x2 and y1, y2. We need to specify the color properties to get the segregation, and let's say R and B, and then enter. Okay, we missed something. Watch. Okay, yeah. X1 is not defined, Probably I may have not executed it. So x1, y1, x2, y2, x1, x2, y1, y2. Good. Okay, now it's working fine, and as you can see, with the help of marker and color, we are able to get the differentiation between the two different data points. Another interesting property is about the size, and it's straightforward, and say s is equals to just 100, and it will give you the output. So like I suggested, you can always press shift tab, because if I correct pretty much everything like alpha, which I've covered it earlier, cmap, edge colors, these are like a lot of different properties with which you can explore. Now let me show you how you can get the data directly from a file. So for that I will use import pandas spt, and I will create a new object which is orders is equals, and I will say pt.read underscore csv and specify the path over here. So the path is this, and we are getting the first sheet, which is order sheet. So I'll press execute it, and it has given me error. Let's see what it is. Check of int has no lan. Ideally it should not give me any error. So okay, so now what the problem is that this is an Excel file and I'm using CSV. I'll just use the read underscore Excel. So now it's fine. If I show you the first two observations, these are the observation like a real-time data set that you will usually get. So we have the sales and discount, and let's try to create the sales and discount. So for that, what I'll do is simply plt.scatter, and here I will pass orders.sales and orders.discount and shift enter, and here I have in just a few seconds my chart. And as it can show you, on the y-axis you have the discount, since we have discount over here. So you have the discount on y-axis, and you have sales over here. So here the sales is high, even after that we have given the less discount, but here sales is low, but in many cases we are giving the high discount. And here are most of the observations where a general or a normal discount has been given. So always an interest area is equations like data points like this or this or this, which are a little bit like an outlier. Here in this chart, one interesting thing that we can probably try is the profit. So based on the profit, we want to change the size of the circle. Let's see what happens if I give the s parameters to profit, and let's try to execute. Okay, not pretty good, because for some of the values the profits is really high, so they have been increased like hell, as you can see. Well, so probably not a good parameter, but as you can see, it can work if we have relatively good values as compared to the one which I have it over here. So that is a parameter that you can specify. Let's probably try it with the maybe unit price. So unit price has a space, so I will have to write unit price like this. And with the unit price also, I think there is a good unit price for some of the value, some of the orders. So over here showing the less unit price, and this is like a big unit price. So with this you can change or do the variation into your chart and make it more useful. So that's pretty much all I have for you in this video, and I'll meet you in the new video, the new topic. Hi there. In this video I will talk about Python's Matplotlib's stack chart or the area chart if you have used it in an Excel, you must have seen it under the name area chart. So this chart is sometimes very helpful in viewing the distribution like this, where the values, for example, in case here in blue it is increasing, but here in case of orange it is decreasing. So they are stacked upon each other, and then finally you have the gray value, which is stacked on both blue and orange. So how you can create a similar type of chart in the Python using the Matplotlib library, I'll just walk you through. So here we have the Jupyter notebook, and I will just import the matplotlib.pyplot library as plt, and I will ask that matplotlib inline, so that I don't have to write the matplotlib's plt.show method to view the chart. This will help me to view the chart as soon as I'm executing the command. Alright, so here we have both the libraries imported, and since this is a stack chart, we need to have one x-axis, so maybe x, and or I will just give you some context. So for example, let's say you are a manager of a processing center where the shifts are going on, and maybe let's say there are 3 shifts which are going on, and you have the data for these shifts for 5 weeks, and trying to evaluate how the things are happening in the different shifts, so whether there is an increase, decrease, or how it is. So let's say we have week and 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 weeks data, and maybe for shift 1 we have let's say 40 hours, then 35 hours, then 26 hours, then 20, let's say 3 hours, and finally 20 hours. Shift 2, let's say you have 40 hours, then 32, then again 40, then maybe 45 and 50, and in shift 3 it's pretty normal, 40, 35, 45, and then 42 and 40. Okay, so we now have this data, and now let's create a scatter. So what we need to give is week and shift 1, shift 2, shift 3, press enter. Why I used scatter, I don't know. I should have used the stack. Okay, plt.stack plot, and then week, shift 1, shift 2, shift 3, and here I have the information. So it's clearly indicative that for shift 1 it's not performing well. Maybe there is a lower volume, but as you can see, for shift 2 the volume is going high. Maybe these guys are not working properly over here, so that's why it's the volume is shifting over here. But these guys looks pretty okay. They are pretty consistent with their approach in terms of the number of hours that they are spending. But one thing that becomes quite confusing is about what shift it is. So what you can do is add a label and say shift 1, then shift 2, and then shift 3. Alright, the label we need to call the legend as well, I guess. Still a problem. Okay, now let's see why. Fill between got multiple value, argument label. Let's see what it is, whether it's a label issue or what. So it's think labels. If I press shift tab and I will labels, a list or tuple of labels. So we have provided a list, and here we are. So now I can clearly see which is shift 1, shift 2 and shift 3. So that's a very basic nature about or a basic way of creating the area chart and trying to understand with the help of the shifts how these data points will reveal the information from the data. As always, my suggestion, you can always go to here and press shift tab and review the the arguments based on the further enhancement you want to do. So for example, baseline, it has multiple argument, and similarly labels that we have used, we have colors as always, and finally shows how you can get the information about the collection for each of the class element in the stack area plot. So this is the command that you can give directly and get the idea if you are really want to go much more deep in that. So that's pretty much all I have for you in this video, and I'll meet you in the new video, new topic. Hi there. In this video, I will talk about a practical example where you can use the data visualization, and generally the practical examples or the practical scenarios are different from what you really learn from theory or from tutorials. So far I've shown you some of the basic examples about how you can use the Matplotlib library, but in this example my motive is to give you a little bit flair or a taste of how the real world situation looks like, and then how we proceed ahead with the visualization. So first of all, let's import the libraries, which are, let's say, first of all, pandas. Just remove that. Import pandas as PD and numpy. Yeah, probably we'll need numpy to create an array of a range. I'll tell you why. And then import matplotlib.pyplot as plt, and then to produce the chart we are saying in percentage matplotlib inline. Okay, quite a fast way we have imported pretty much the basic library, but if we need anything else in terms of libraries, we will see it during the example. And I want to show you this example by utilizing the file that I have been used since my pandas series, where I have shown you this sample superstore sales example, and we are getting the first sheet by indicating 0 as the parameter for this function pd.read_excel, which contains the orders data. So if I go ahead and view the first two rows, here I have orders. Okay, so it's pretty straightforward. You have a lot of columns like order ID, order date, priority, order quantity, shipping mode, and all of that thing. Now let's say based on the dimension you have, that really basically trigger the analytics. For example, based on the order priority, whether your sales is really high in a particular type of order priority, or your sales is high or low on a particular type of sales, on a particular type of ship mode, maybe province, region, who knows, right? That's kind of a job of a data researcher or data scientist to look at really all the angles, do the comparative analysis, and then figure it out and show the observations back to the user or the management who is really interested in knowing what's actually happening, what is impacting our sales. So in this video, what I'll do is, looking at the shipping mode, we will try to segregate the 3 different shipping modes. So if I am not wrong, you have regular air, delivery truck, and I think there is one more. So if I want to see the shipping modes that are available, then what I can do is I can say orders ship mode dot values dot unique. If I'm not wrong, it should show me the value. Does not have any value as unique, so what I'll do is value underscore count. That will again give me the values. So pretty straightforward. You have regular air, delivery truck, and express air. These are the 3 values, and regular air is definitely having the most values. The count is highest, followed by delivery truck and express air. So that basically gives you, first of all, an initial idea. Okay, in your company, your regular air delivery mode or the shipping mode has been used frequently, and that may spark some question in terms of, let's say, spending, where your spending is happening more, whether in a delivery truck or a regular air or express air. So you can actually trigger those type of questions. So but here we are interested in sales, so let's move ahead and see it. So we will create 3 different series objects to visualize the 3 different data set over each other. So on top of regular air, we will visualize the delivery truck and then the express air. But there are some issues, and let's see those issues. So first thing is, let's create 3 different orders underscore RA, so which indicates regular air, and that is how we can do is within the orders, and again the brackets, ship mode equals to and then regular air, and after this we want what column we want. So from here, if we want profit, we need to specify the dot notation and say profit. If you want sales, we can get sales. So what it is doing is nothing but filtering the data within the orders for regular air, and we want sales. Alright, let's see a couple of orders. Head. Okay, so here we are. So as you can see, for 0 index you have value, for 2 index 3, 4, 5, and if you want to shape orders underscore RA dot shape, well, 6270 observations, and as you can see 6270, but it has a hidden issue as I have been talking about. So I will show you in a couple of minutes. First of all, let me just for delivery truck and express air create the value, these subset. I'll just do the copy, Control C over here. Now for delivery truck, what I can do is specify DT, again paste, and what I can do is specify EA. Alright, and I don't have to do a lot of writing, I hate that, so I'll just copy. Ship mode is this, ship mode is express air. So this way now I have 3 different objects. Right, so if I go ahead and execute this, there are no issues, and again I want to show you orders underscore RA. Again we will look at the shape 6270 and DT dot shape. So there is 1146 and 1146, so that's good. There is no issue in our filtering, and EA dot shape, and there is 983. So we are good. There is no issue in the filtering that we have done because it is coming as per the value count from the original data sets based on this function that we used. All right, now let's go ahead and plot the values. So plt dot plot, and we want to plot, let's say the last one we chose is orders underscore EA, and let's say we want to red plus sign, so R plus, press shift enter, just given me the value, data frame has no object as okay underscore. Alright, so here we have the values, and as you can see, it is going up till here 8,000, and the value is going up till here till 25,000. So this is fine, but why x-axis is coming 8,000? But so if you remember from one of my very initial video related to Matplotlib, is if we are just specifying the one single object or one single series object, it takes its index values over here as the x-axis. So what I meant by that is, if I show you orders underscore ea dot head and let's say 10 observations. So what it is doing is, this is the value of index, this is the actual values. So this index value is coming over here and these values are coming over here on the y-axis. Now if I look at the shape of orders.ea, there are just 983 observations. So ideally this should be 983 but not the 8000. So these kind of issues or misrepresentation you can have whenever you are starting with the data visualization. Those who are experienced probably are aware about it and can fix this problem, but those who are new, they basically come into this trap where they just try to plot. So for example, we have just plot the EA, then another plot that we can do is with the orders underscore, let's say RA, and we want blue plus sign. So here we are, blue plus sign and red plus sign, both the values are coming up till 8000. And even if we want, we can plot the third one, which is orders underscore RA underscore and then C plus. This is cyan. So here we have the three values. But now the issue is that you can't see the blue one pretty effectively, the plus red sign and all, because most of these values have been overlapped by the third observation. So what you can do is you can use the alpha property and make it like 0.3, which will make it transparent a lot so you can see these observations. Okay, not that much great, but if you increase the figure size you will get to know, but at least it will give you an idea. Okay, there are some few observations of negative and the blue or red or cyan. So that's basically not what I wanted to explain. That's basically to show you how you can see the overlapping values. But the real issue is how you can get the data into the right shape so that your observations are not going up till 8000 because of the index issue. So how we can remove that? Well, I'm leaving this video here so that you can do some thinking and do an experiment about what you will really do in this situation, and in the next video I will show you the solution.